Welcome to Color Me Happy. My name is Brandy Hofer. Thank you so much for being here today. As always, I appreciate your time. It actually blows me away that people tune in to my conversations with others for an hour and a half. It is the biggest compliment of my life. And I just, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. In song, that's how special it is. And, oh my gosh. Sometimes when I watch New Girl, I'm like, that is me without the glasses. I'm singing. If you haven't seen it, it's good. I love Zoe. Okay. Got way off track there. You're going to really enjoy this episode. It's with my new friend Megan. She is an amazing illustrator and artist and mom, and we actually met in a cool way, and we talk about it in the podcast, this episode right here where you are. And we are having a winter collection on right now in our BHA gallery. That we started the gallery this year, and I just love curating collections and putting the artwork together. And Megan actually made her prints specifically for this show, and they are inspired by our surroundings. And she's new to Lloydminster, and they are stunning. And I'm blown away, and I was honored that she made them specifically for the show. So go check that out at brandyhofer.ca. I love this conversation with Megan because we actually talk about the silver lining that came along with the pandemic. And I do talk about it a little bit, but she talked about her experience, and there were some things that kind of got, I don't know, shaken away, like shaken up in your life, like everything got stripped away. And it gave you the opportunity to step out of your life for a second and step back in and appreciate what really matters to you. And I think that was the biggest message and silver lining. So I'd love to hear yours. So feel free to message. I always answer. I promise. And if I don't, I just missed it. 100% by accident or forgot, because my life is chaotic. This morning, actually, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know this already, but this morning Teddy dumped a cold glass of water on me to wake me up. It was special. He had me up at 5 and I nursed him, and then I thought he was back asleep. Boy, was I wrong. And then we go downstairs, and, like, morning life with any small family with little kids is like chaos. Lucky it was a Sunday, so we didn't have to get anyone to school, because that's something in itself really special. And so I had my tea on the counter, and Teddy pulled up a stool and started dumping salt in it. I feel like it's an episode of Pranked. So I had a salty tea. Do you take lemon? Yes, I do. Do you take salt? No, I don't. Thanks, Teddy. So I put his stool back, and I was also making cookies because we're having a play date. So I wanted to make Christmas cookies. And so I had that out, and I also had made breakfast. I made like hash browns and eggs. So I turn around cleaning up the tea thing with the salt and the wiping and the salt, and turn around to find him putting sugar all over my eggs and avocados and hash browns. So thanks, Teddy. It's just like, you turn around to do one thing and then he fucks up another thing, and just like super. The funny thing is, I've become so numb to these experiences that I I'm not even mad anymore. It's just like, you just gotta laugh at yourself because you'll cry your eyes out if you don't. I always use that. That's Indigo Girl said that. I wrote that in my book too. I have another really funny story from this week. to, I don't think I've shared it yet. I wrote it in my book last night, but I haven't shared it. It's one for the books. But we had another play date last week, and the dad came over, and I was telling him about it. He's like, "Oh, just a bad day." I was like, "Nope, dead serious. Nope, that's every day for me. This shit happens every day." I don't even care. I don't even care. I just make sure to write it all down because I know that it'll just be so great to tell, I don't know, at a wedding or, or just like, I like to put it in the little photo albums, etc. Anyways, this is not a solo podcast. So, it is not a solo one. I had the lovely Meagan McKenzie on, and she says where you can find her on Instagram and a website, I'm pretty sure. So find her and check her out in our super cool winter. Super cool because it's winter. Wasn't that funny? Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Okay, we are good to go. I lost one a month ago, and I pressed all the buttons and everything happened. It just didn't record. I was like, oh. So I just want to be really thorough because that was 2 hours of my life. It was fun, but now I have to do it again because of course I want to. She was the person I met for the first time, so it was a really good talk. But yeah, and it's just never the same.
No, damn technology.
Yeah. Oh, Sean, do you know Sean Newman, SNP podcast?
I do not.
No? He's local. I graduated with him in high school, and he started a podcast like 2 years ago, and it's like crazy big. Like he's interviewed Don Cherry and Ron McLean, and like he's done really well. And some bigger people in the world who like I know they're like newsworthy, but I don't know who they are because I'm not into politics. But he's it went like way beyond what he ever thought it was. So I'm super proud of him. But he said like every podcast there's something wrong. Like nothing ever goes right. He's like, and literally I have a studio where I sit and do the same thing and leave it and then come back. So yeah. Okay. So welcome, Meagan McKenzie. Meagan McKenzie. I'm so happy to sit down and chat with you, mostly because this is my first time getting to know you a little bit too. We did have kind of a unique way of meeting through a creative friend. Well, actually, she's your friend. So I was also my first time. So Brittany Tuff, you guys just kind of like cold messaged me in the spring, was it? And you're like, oh, hey, can we come chat with you in your studio? And of course I was like, sure.
That's right. So yeah, thank you for having me. And yeah, I was moving to town and I didn't know anything about it. And one of the first things I Googled was Lloydminster artist. And of course your name popped up. And so I started following you and seeing what your artwork and your life was all about. And I mentioned this to my friend, just like, I don't know much about Lloyd, but I do know this amazing artist lives there. And I am like secretly hoping to be her friend. And so Brittany was coming to visit us and she said, why don't we go see if we can do a studio visit? And I was like, you can just do that? Like, okay. So she's like, yeah, we're going to go pop over on Thursday. And I set it all up. So I was so grateful to have Brittany as the conduit.
That's super sweet. Yeah, people, hold on, I'm going to fix my light because it went a little wonky. But people are super shy when it comes to that sort of thing. And like sometimes people will be assholes. There's no question. There's not nice people out there. And some people will say no, but that's like the worst, really. Well, hopefully that's the worst thing you'll get is no thanks, or I'm too busy, or I'm not that social, or I have private, like I like to keep my studio super private. That would have been nice if I had my shit together for the podcast, etc. It was going then, but I was just like getting to know it. I didn't know if I wanted to keep pursuing it. But yeah, that would have been cool to capture us sitting in here because it was a pretty magical first conversation.
It was.
I had
We
fun.
just talked about being an artist, being a mom, being a woman, making art in this world. So yeah, it was great. And then you generously gave me a print of your husband on the way out. So I'll have my house
Here. Would you like this picture of my husband? Yeah, that sounds weird, but like, so Gus and I did 44 portraits once, and yeah, that was one of a collection. So it doesn't like, it's just not my like a picture of my husband. That would have been, yeah. Here you go. You're like, wow, thanks, crazy.
Thanks for this. I'll frame it.
No, it was really fun, and you know, I think it's a great way, and I think it's really ambitious of you to, come to a new place and, try to reach out and make friends and connections. And I think people forget how important that is. When with anything, even if you're in your area, to have your little tribe of creatives and friends to lean on for support and connection is like integral to just like basic social health and obviously creative health as well. So I actually want to start from there, the beginning of you coming here. So what brought you to Lloydminster?
So my partner works for the RCMP, so I've had the pleasure of following him and his career a little bit. So I'm originally from Calgary, and then we moved to Toronto. I lived there for a couple of years, and then there was an opportunity here in Lloyd and back in Alberta, so he took the job. And yeah, it's been kind of exciting to experience, the big vast city of Toronto and then come to a smaller center. So yeah, just experience different lifestyles and meet very different people. So it's
Yeah,
been
I know. So my sister-in-law lives in Toronto. She's part of this really, maybe you heard of it, Wildcraft, like the skincare. So she's a production manager. She went from like having her own little like startup, so making potions by herself, to joining their team and just like taking, what small scale to large, and she's done a fantastic job. So their stuff is amazing. And so yeah, she's in Toronto, and she came home, and she was single at the time. It was a few years ago. It was when the dating app. I don't know the dating apps because I've been with the same person for like a long time. 13 years or something. So those things weren't like, it was like different, but there was no apps for dating with the swipe. What is it? Tinder. Tinder. Okay. So she was single. So Tinder's fun to play on if you've never done it. So I was married already, and so it's literally a game for me. I'm like, oh, this is neat. She came home and she brought Tinder and Toronto Tinder with her. So like, we were like, la la, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And we were just like 2 hours of like fun and like giggling and whatever. I felt like I was young again, and not that I was old. I'm old now, or at the time, but so then we took off Toronto. And this is nothing against my community. I'm very proud to be from here, and I love my community, but Tinder was visibly different. Very obviously, like, so different. Like, Tinder Toronto was like, a guy with like a scarf and a jacket in the park or something, and like trying to look classy. And here, it wasn't even a picture of the person. It was either their truck or them holding a dead
holding a what?
Dead animal that they had hunted.
It's so true.
I'm like, oh my gosh. And then we were on Tinder for like 4 more hours because we like couldn't believe, like, it was either, oh, I just drove my truck through the mud, here it is all dirty, or here's the buck I just shot, or a fish, those varied.
Token fish. I I know. It's such a different world. I
It is.
I
And there are good and bad things about that. Like,
of course.
there's a lot of pride here and big sense of community and a small town feel, which is fantastic and like a super place I'm sure you are finding to raise your family. It's like, it feels safe. Like,
Yeah.
I'm from here and I've lived in big cities and I've traveled the world, and I mean, home always feels safe, but
Mhm.
I sometimes leave stuff like a overhead door open and go on a walk. No one come by my house and test my doors. That would be creepy.
Yeah.
Please, but no, it is just like a sense of like, although your husband did get moved here to join our police force, so I'm sure you hear like the other end of the
The other
spectrum.
perhaps not as safe.
But
Yeah.
there's just that's my aunt is a what's child care worker, and her son is RCMP as well. And yeah, there's things going on in every community. I'm just like pausing, like I probably can't say anything else about what I just said. Uh, but very sad, like stories that should be only in film or like a
Mhm.
weird like fantasy story, but like just things you don't want to know about the world, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so where were we? I just got like, you just said Toronto and I took off on one.
Tinder.
Tinder Toronto. Yeah, no, Toronto's nice. I got to go there for, have you heard of the Canadian artist Andrew Salgado?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's from Regina, but he lives in London, and he had a first show in like 14 years in Canada, and I stocked up all my breastfeeding hours into one trip and took off for 4 days. It was a nice
Oh,
treat.
yeah.
But 4 days was enough. Like, I really, it's, I had, even when you go to New York, say, like, and back to Canada, like, there
Mhm.
is a difference in cadence and feel and like almost a sense of relief. I feel like it's always like so Ah, yeah. It's
It's
just hard to explain, but like, and I was coming back to Nova Scotia, which is a very slow pace place.
yeah.
So
It is,
it's a
yeah.
major shift from New York.
Yeah. Um,
So you lived in Toronto, and how long did you live there for?
about 2 years.
So was that enough time to like establish your creative career, or what did you do there?
Well, it was unfortunate in a way because we landed there kind of at the peak of the pandemic. So we had been there for about 5 or 6 months. Um, and then, yeah, and then COVID hit. So it
Oh,
was just, and I had a little guy at the time. He was 8 months old. So that was part of the draw to go to Toronto. I just envisioned like going to all the museums and art galleries and shows, and just, it's kind of the land of opportunity for artists. And yeah, and I still got to do a little bit of that, but it was definitely a lot of it was spent inside our tiny 800 square foot
oh,
apartment with a little tootling
oh my
baby.
gosh. I'm sorry. It just sounds like the worst lonely experience. Like motherhood in general is like when you're first at home for the first year is pretty lonely.
Mhm.
So I couldn't imagine that in the height of a pandemic. Like, was this
Yeah.
the greatest time to have a child? Probably not. And like, although at the same time, I'm like, if I didn't have to travel at any point in my life, now would be the time to not. Anyways, right? Am
Mhm.
I delayed for you?
There is a little bit of a delay, yeah.
Super. Of course. Of course there is. I'll just shut down, and there's not an audio delay, so I'll just tweak the visual. There we go. We're back in time,
We're back.
except not focus. Cool. There we go. Yeah, so it's hard to focus when everything's being delayed. Yeah, no, motherhood and parenthood in general is a very, because you're up at like 3 and 5 and 7 and a half, and it's just, and I'm sure your partner was not at home all the time, and
Well, it was actually nice because we were I was working from home, and he has a job where he doesn't have to be out and about, so he has kind of a desk job. So in a way, it was really nice. We were both sort of working from home.
Oh,
Our daycare shut down, so we were just being a family and navigating. Like, okay, you take the babe out for a walk while I work, and then we would switch off. So it was a challenging time to be in a new city, in a big city during a pandemic, trying to meet people, and then the world shuts down.
yeah.
But I actually have very fond memories looking back of just we spent so many hours walking together.
Oh,
And,
wow. Actually, okay. That sounds
well,
great.
and
Kind of. I know you were still locked with a baby, but
yeah,
like, no, that makes me so happy that you had that experience of being together for that time. Then, like, yes, challenging and difficult, but like really special for your family.
yeah, and it was sort of I was back at work and we were putting our little 9-month-old or 10-month-old in daycare, which kind of broke my heart a little bit. So
Yeah,
so then when were forced to not send him to daycare, it was actually just so nice that there was, I could still work, but it was definitely my employer was flexible. And so I just look back being like, oh, he was so young when we first sent him. I'm so grateful that I could have that extra 8 months with him as watching him
exactly.
grow. So yeah.
Yeah, 9 months is young. Like that is, I remember, yeah, sending my first at one, and it's like it's one of the worst experiences of all time, like the heartbreak of that experience. And then after I was pregnant with my second, I was like, I'm never. And Gus was home with me, and I was about to have Finn like a month later. I couldn't do work anymore, so I'm like, I just have to start my mat leave now because
Mhm.
I just I just can't. It's just like uncomfortable and whatever. And you just are nesting, and all you can think about is rearranging the forks in your drawer because that's how it works. If anyone's been through the nesting stage, it's like the perfect time to organize your whole home and every little. I'm not. I'm like a drawer, so a drawer hoarder. For my drawers to be organized is like amazing. Anyway, yeah, I just remember getting Gus home for the week, and of course, it's a big adjustment to A, be back at home, B, but be back at home with being super pregnant, about to have a baby, and with your 2-year-old son. And I just remember thinking, I don't even know you anymore. Like 40 out 5 probably hours a week, you're with someone else. I don't know you. And I just remember the sinking feeling of I'm never doing this again. I don't
Mhm.
care if we're poor for a little bit, and not poor, but like just like lower on cash, but
Yeah.
not able to save anything. But at least with my art, I could like occasionally sell some art and help pay for. Actually, I pay for groceries, but like pay for, not I saved up money because I knew, but
Yeah.
I worked to save that money so I could. I'm just like I'm never doing this again. I don't care, but even if I had gone back, it wouldn't have been enough. Like it would have been like a few $100s to have both my kids in childcare and work. I'm like, and then I won't see my kids. Like, and
Yeah.
it's
So
just
did
one of those things that's important to me.
did motherhood kind of was that the catalyst to your art career? Were you working before that or
Oh no, I have my BFA, which doesn't mean you're going to be pursue that, right? Like for
Mhm.
everyone, you're like, I painted in university, so I'm going to continue on that path. No, I've been doing it for I've been selling artwork for 15 years,
Mhm.
and I kept on that visual. Like motherhood, I know is the catalyst for some to get creative, and but no, it's been me trying to make this work for a long, long, long time. And they were just here, and the motherhood thing really just shifted my narrative.
Mm.
I really enjoyed sharing and writing about it, and then people. really enjoyed connecting, like, because they can just relate to basically people really like when I'm struggling. And you actually started the podcast and they're like, yes, I feel that. And that's what you're looking for. You know, that's how we connect now online. And that's, you know, when someone's like, oh, I didn't sleep or whatever. And you're like, yes, I didn't sleep either. High five. Or
Yeah.
that's like the easiest way to say it. But you asked me how my week was, and I said, I'm going to save it for the podcast. This week is the time change for us, which, you know, everyone complains about, and they're like, we're not doing this next year. I'm like, well, I don't know how we're going to prevent it.
Yeah.
We are. Yeah. So that means for people with kids, the kids don't get the memo, or the babies. So I've been up at like 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. and 4 a.m. and they've had a cold, and we're at home from school, which I think they planned. The schools are like, we're not doing time change week. Fuck that. They're right, because it's the worst.
Yeah.
I've gotten a flat tire. I got a flat tire on my van, so it's vanless, my minivan. Got a flat tire. I didn't throw my phone at Teddy. I shoved it on the floor, said, get out of my room, go watch Patrol. And it kept sliding like a curling rink down the hallway and slid under the railing glass. We have a 2-story loft.
Yeah.
Under the railing glass and over on down to the second floor.
Oh no.
Like,
did it smash?
Yeah, oh for sure. What could survive that? Nothing. What else? Oh, and tonight, people won't hear this, but you can look back, because this will come out in like a month or two. You can look back on my Instagram. I'm definitely sharing what people think my life is like, with the pretty painting and the, oh, my kids love me, and we hug and kiss and paint all the time.
Yeah.
And it's great, versus my real life. They took the baking soda, the baking powder, and all my flour, and like, this was 3 minutes of me going downstairs to check an email, and they did some stuff. And one morning they ate a whole jumbo bag of chocolate chips, like the massive bag, the 3 of them, and they're rotten, right? Yeah. And then 2 other mornings they dumped bowls of maple syrup in the garage. And also Teddy 2 days ago dumped the toilet bowl cleaner and 2 bottles of dish soap, 2 in the garage on the floor. And like, literally, while I like make spaghetti, like, this shit happens.
Just like, what are you getting into?
We got some locks on our for the cabinets, but like, I can't lock every element of my home. And Teddy climbs up, like, he climbs like up all the way to like levels of shelves that you wouldn't like, that I can reach, that he shouldn't be able. Anyways, yeah.
Oh,
it's just like, but that goes along with staying at home. My husband cleaned the kitchen yesterday, and he was acting like he was some sort of fucking champion of the world. I was like, dude, this happens 3 times a day. This happens 3 times a day. I clean it 3 times a day, and you cleaned it once. So just
relax. I know. Me. And then for the next week, he's like, boy, these counters are so clean.
Yeah. No. Actually, that would never happen. They would never last a week.
Yeah.
Ever. It's like a day, maybe half a day. Yeah.
That sounds like a week.
Yeah, I just and my computer crashed yesterday or the day before, and I'm just like, I'm gonna sit and paint, and it was great. I think it's just like a reminder that everyone needs to just chill out sometimes, and I feel like we're always on a computer or a phone, and this is like the greatest thing. Like, maybe you need to reconnect to yourself for a second. Yeah. And not put all your free little moments, because with kids, you have to use your little 15-minute windows to get anything done. Like, if you want to write a book, use your window. If you want to knit a sweater, use your window. You know, like, there's no way that you have hours of stretched time unless you have like some sort of childcare.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah. Okay. There I go again. So sorry. Still want to hear about you. I just get chatting. Yeah, so you moved here and you found a creative job right away in like illustration and design, or?
Uh, Sort of. So it's at a co-working space where it's called Startup. It's part of the Startup Canada community, and basically they help entrepreneurs and small businesses launch their ideas. And my area is specifically focused on kind of the tech businesses. So it's not like illustrative creative necessarily, but I get to do a lot of um, graphic design and just creative thinking, coming up with ways that we can connect with the community and connect with entrepreneurs in this region. So it's great. And the biggest thing was just I was fortunate enough to be working remotely, um, which allowed me to travel from Calgary to Toronto and then also continue working through the pandemic. But after 3 years of that, it was just like, I'm so lonely. Like I need some friends or I need an office to go to. So I think that was the biggest um, just nice thing to switch up.
Yeah, and yeah, come back to. I know everyone's like, oh, you're just la-di-da at home. It's actually way more challenging to, well, be a stay-at-home parent, like 10 times more challenging. But not only that, but like work from home. And I think finally it was like a little bit of like, it felt good. I'm not gonna lie, it felt really good when everyone had to stay home. They're like, shit, this is super hard. Like,
Yeah.
I know.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah. My life did not shift in the least. Like it really did. It did not change with the pandemic. I only stayed home and I only stayed in my neighborhood and I never went anywhere, and I totally have been locked at home for years, almost 7 now. And although I find it really rewarding, I can feel that I feel like a little, I could use a little bit of a change like you. So I did say yes to some opportunities and I'm excited. I can't really talk about them yet, but and it's not like shifting my career or anything. Like it's still really creative based and I'll still continue doing what I'm doing. But it's a couple days a week, I'll get to do some other stuff and my children won't be around, which will be super special. Honestly, I said like a few months ago, because you can tell by what's happening in my world, like I have the patience of a saint at this point. Like I cried a little this week, but I really didn't lose my shit too hard. And I feel like that took a lot of mental effort to I did break down. Yeah, I did. But that consistently happening, like I'm a little bit over being at home with them, to be honest. Just like 7 years, that's good enough. I'm ready for a tiny bit of a change up. Teddy will be 3. Yeah. So he's very active and social. So he'll be ready for, like, I will not feel guilty a half day putting him 2 days a week in something else. Somewhere else, far away from me. He's so sweet. He's so much trouble and he likes to be naked right now. So I get him dressed and then he takes it all off and then I get him dressed. And then you're like, stop doing that. And he does a little naked dance and you're like, oh, you're so hard to be mad at. But yeah, so you're enjoying the shift.
I am enjoying the shift, yeah. And it just feels like there's a bit of structure and routine. My little guy goes to daycare, and which I think he loves. He seems to love and always get excited when he gets up to go to school. So
that's reassuring.
Yeah.
Like not the attachment cry.
You're like, no, we had none of that. He was just like, peace, bye, mom. I'm like, yeah. I'm like crying, like, I'll miss you, come back. And he's just like running away.
Oh, good. That's such a good feeling. Yeah, that's like a huge relief.
And it was nice.
Don't have that.
It was really nice hanging out with my partner for about a year. But also just to go to your own spots in the day talk to different people, and then you have something to reconnect over when you come back home. So that's
There
also,
is such a thing as too much time together.
yeah.
There were, I think, the divorce rate like skyrocketed.
I
I know some
can
people who
imagine.
did. Like, I
Mhm.
know a lot actually that did not weather that storm. It was hard.
It's like, why are you chewing so loud? God.
That's so funny you say that. That's one of my parents weren't are they separated when I was 12, and later in life my mom said that exact thing. She's like, I just couldn't listen to him chew anymore. He chewed so loud.
Yeah.
So yes, if that's to the point where like I'm gonna stab you with a steak knife because of you chewing. It's not separation and divorce is not the worst thing to happen. It just means you're probably going to be better people apart, and you're probably going to be a better parent if you have children apart. Not in all cases, but like
Mhm.
my parents were definitely better people not together.
Yeah.
Both very good people and good parents. They just shouldn't have done, well, people change too though. Like you can't say that you're the same person you were at whenever you got like at any point. No one's the same as they were when they were 20, 25, 28 to
No,
30.
of
Like
course not.
no, you change, and it's whether you like go down the path together or you change,
Yeah,
so
it's true. My parents, they are divorced. Um, they were married for 25 years and then divorced after that. So they, which was, I think, a surprise to a lot of people, where they got married young. They basically raised their kids up until, we were in high school and getting ready to leave the nest. And then it just, yeah, shit hit the fan then.
yeah, I think your kids consume so much that you I could see it happening a lot. Like you just disconnect, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Ooh, I'm stuck with this person now who I've just been like rooming with,
Yeah.
and they've been my roommate for 20 years, and now our kids are gone, and you either like each other or you don't.
Yeah. It was
You
so
want to,
true.
retire and travel the world, or like get a vacation home, or work together, or whatever,
Yeah.
or you don't."
Or you're like, oh, now we don't have the kids to talk about
Oh,
or focus
yeah,
on.
we have absolutely nothing in common.
Mhm.
Actually, I admittedly don't have a lot in common if I have to hear with my partner, but I do love him a lot. But if I have to watch another Connor McDavid video, I might just die. He's like, "You're gonna believe the game last night," and the just look at his finesse here. Just hold on. I'm just gonna put it in slow motion for you.
Oh,
Just like, and I stopped pretending to like hockey. I was like, I roped you in at some
yeah.
point. I was
It really
pretending
did.
to like it. I pretended I grew up in a hockey town, but no, I'm not very good at sitting on. I love movies, but I'm not good at sitting and watching. I'm not good at sitting still in general.
No.
Clearly, in all my videos, I'm probably like just like doing. Anyway, yeah, no, I can't sit and watch sports. I am not a sports fan. I'm sure I don't have like a boatload of sports fan listeners, so I'm not gonna hurt anyone's feelings here.
They're like, what,
Um,
Cindy?
yeah,
I'm
I'm never listening
sad.
to her again. I can appreciate it. I do. He's very passionate. Like I would say, his nothing everything is hockey. Everything is like that's all he thinks about, and that's okay because all I think about is art.
Yeah.
Everything I focus on, and I don't want a partner that is like, like I want us to, when we hang out, it's a break from that and
That's
that,
good.
and
Mm-hmm.
so he
Totally.
also likes wood stuff. I don't know,
That's cool.
things are
That's all.
private. Yeah, no, I mean, but that goes along with his business, so it's not like he wants to talk about it when he gets home. But
Yeah.
yeah. Um, do you get to hear interesting? I know like they can't talk about, but like people must like your partner's job must come with some interesting stories.
Definitely. And sometimes it's annoying, like going to dinner parties or meeting new people, because they're like, people ask, "Oh, what do you do?" And he tells them, and they're just like riveted, like, "Oh, tell me some juicy tales." And he
He
has some
does.
crazy, wild stories of, working up north and having to rescue someone from a helicopter crash, and like,
Yeah, I don't want to hear those.
I know, car chases and
Oh,
getting bad guys and just yeah, and he's very much.
how long is your real life?
I know. And he doesn't come across as someone who's like, "Oh, I'm a big tough cop." Like, he's a big nerd. And so hearing these tales, I'm just like, "You are doing this? Really? I can't see it, but
Next time, take a video so I know.
yeah,
I need to witness this through proof. I don't believe you.
yeah,
Um, I have heard some, and it's so hard not to talk about, but there are some. I can't even say what my cousin does, but it's so fucking cool. Yeah, it's interesting to hear, but not interesting if you're his wife and he's gone for an unknown period of time and you don't know when he's going to be back or
like,
why. Like,
yeah.
that's not fun.
And
That's
that's
scary.
sort of
That takes a special
his
person.
earlier career was more about that. Now he's more boring behind a desk. So he's
Did
home.
he ask for that? Like, was he looking for that after parenthood?
No,
Like,
I think it just with time he kind of found himself in more and more in those kind of roles. So it's just nice that he's home for dinner, and those stories are a bit more in the past.
oh, lovely.
Um,
Yeah, because once you have kids, you're like, let's not risk our lives. Okay.
yeah, yeah. Let's be safe. Um, but yeah, one of the biggest challenges I have being married to someone like a cop is that his empathy level is like non-existent
Oh
or
no.
very low. So it's someone who's like creative and feels a lot of things, and I get, emotional. My trying to talk to him about it, he's just like, he's seen all these crazy things in his life, met some people that are really, had some very big challenges in
Challenges.
their life. Then I come in and I'm just like, my problems. And he's just like, those are not real problems. Like, I
No.
know he's thinking that, but it's just,
He first worlds you all the time. It's
I
like,
100%.
well,
Yeah.
you have a roof over your head and you're alive today, so perspective. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
no.
So some,
I feel that.
you
I
know,
Yeah, well, I obviously we would be similar. I feel like artists have we're connected more to our emotions because that's why and how we create things. And so I feel like we have that kind of next level sense almost. It's like an extra gift in sense because you tap into that creativity on a regular basis.
mhm.
So yeah, like your emotions boil right under the surface of your skin. My son Finn is that way, and I was like, oh, this kind of sucks. And he's exactly like me. Like he'll just like if he sees you crying or anything, he'll be like, "Ugh."
Right.
Like he just like connects to the emotional
Mhm.
thing. So no, yeah, it's that kind of sucks though.
So it's good. So sometimes it is good to have a little perspective or keep myself in check and just say, okay, you're not all so bad. But yeah, those are sometimes the hard conversations where I'm just like, just feel sorry for me for 5 minutes.
Come on, I had a rough day. Can't you give me a hug? I love okay, so you also so you're working full time, but you have you're doing obviously your own work too. Like you're continuing your own practice.
Hmm. Yeah.
How do you make the time for that?
Yeah. So it's definitely something that it's been a kind of struggle because I've always like dreamed, the dream has always been like to be a full-time practicing artist. And I look up to people who are making it work. They're able to support themselves, their families. And it's just like, man, that's so incredible. And, reading articles or people who've just been like, you know what? This is my truth. This is my passion. throw caution to the wind. Like, I can't do anything else but this. I'm committing to it. And I just admire that so much. And when I see people who are making it work, it's just like, man, that's amazing. So I really struggle with.
I think it is a fantasy, by the way, just so you know. I like even, okay, so let's just take Andrew Salgado because we're talking about him. Mm-hmm. So his pieces range from like 2,000 euros to like 80,000 euros, and he's doing really well. You would like, you're like really well, and except for, and he does do fucking well. But he even says, like, the art world is very challenging. It's incredibly hard to make it. I would say, I bet like 95% of people aren't actually making it. And those, it's just like Instagram with the reel of everyone's beautiful highlight. Like, I'm on my computer 85% of the time. I get to create 15% of the time, but actually 100% of the time I'm parenting. And I know it can look to some people as though I'm living this like fantasy life, but like some years I was like minus $8,000. Like, and there's months, sometimes like 4 months where like nothing's really or I'm just staying afloat. Like, it's not for sissies. It's really fucking hard. And the success rate is, why don't I just like take you down? The success rate is really low. And, you know, and I'm saying this because I just don't want people to think it's all sunshine and rainbows. It's really not. And there's just those few people who are making it work, but they're making it work because they're not just solely depending. Like, if I solely depended on original sales, like I would make like, oh, thump, everyone's home. I wouldn't be, it wouldn't work. So what I did was supplement that income with custom artwork. And then I made 130 custom artworks one year, and I was like, I'm super burnt out. This was way too much. And I didn't come out very on top. So then I've been working for about a year and a half, maybe, on setting up those sustainable and passive income sources. And with that shift, oh my gosh, oh, thank you. Gus got money for his birthday, and Grandpa took him to the store. Got an armful of goodies. Yeah, with that, it took some very big risks and some very big losses. And because like I'm an independent business, like I see every dollar that is lost and everyone that is gained, and it's just like a big guessing game and throwing a bunch of spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks. And with the pandemic thrown in there, it just like there was a lot of things that people didn't, well, I didn't say a lot about them, but and I just want to be really transparent and say, like, I sometimes don't have money. I sometimes minus 10,000 with the big thing, that, which for a huge business, that's like pennies. Yes. Oh wow, Gus, that's so cool. What a lucky day. Hey, I'll talk to you in like 10 minutes, 15, maybe 20. Oh, okay, go play in the garage with it. Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna save it.
Save it from Teddy. Anytime he builds something from Lego, Teddy like goes to the highest point in the house and tucks it. Yeah. Sorry. So yeah, no, it's just like, and so shifting from, you know, drawing, painting, everyone, and it was working, but saying, you know, I thought this would be cool and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like working to make something successful, and then it was successful, but just saying I can't do this, like I can still do it, but not to this extent. I'd like to create for me more and not have it, you know, so not that I don't enjoy those, but I'd rather like one a month instead of 10.
Yeah.
Or one every couple of months. And that's what it's been now, because I've really shifted it. But it's just, yeah, there are some major struggles. And then, yeah, taking on, you know, testing some different routes. Like it's so solo being a creative, and I'm sure you know that. So like, trying to connect with people through a podcast, or I'm writing a book, and like ways to be creative that I think I just needed after I loved portrait. I love portraiture. Like it was my thing. And then, and now I'm really good at it, like super practiced.
Yeah.
But it's a journey, and it's not easy. And Katerina Popova talks about it all the time, and she's doing really well. But like at the same time, like she lived in her car at one point. So
and
it's different for everyone, but
totally. And I love hearing those stories. I know they're stories of struggle and challenge, but I think it's so nice to have that transparency. And you're right, we're so bombarded by these like images on social media or how people present themselves. And I went to art school, and I sort of thought that
There's a Pikachu in it. There's a Pikachu in it.
Did Gus buy you a Pikachu?
No. Yeah.
That was nice of him.
Yeah. I grabbed it first.
You grabbed it first.
Got a tech back.
A tech back? Cool.
A tech back that's golden.
Tech deck.
Tech
Skateboard.
deck.
Yeah. Cool.
Mom, Gus is building my Pikachu.
Okay, go in the garage.
It's Lego Pikachu.
Okay, I'll be there soon. Okay, sounds good. Thanks. Bye, buddy. Yeah, no, like it is, and I also there were some stories too, because I'm in a lot of art like groups and masterminds. Like people were making it work. It was working, and then with the pandemic, they're like, I have to ask you guys for some money for food. Like this was working and sales were great, and yeah, I think it's been a struggle for a lot of creatives. So
sure.
And small businesses in general have been
100%.
affected.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I think for myself, like I always had this sort of this thought in the back of my head, like I wish that I could cut it, or I wish that I could make that commitment to be a full-time artist. Like I hope that when I'm 80, I don't regret that I didn't, make that dive into just at least trying to see what could come of making art. And so I think with that kind of in the back of my head, there was so much pressure to be like, you either have to be like fully a full-time artist, fully immersed in art, or nothing. And so then I think in the past few years, it's just like, you know what, maybe it's okay if I'm like working full time and then I do art when I can on the side. And I found that when I accepted that, it was just like, I can make a salary and I don't have to stress about that. And then when I am making art, it's just for fun or for something when I feel like it. And that doesn't work for everyone, but for me, it's just, I found this like weight has been lifted, and it's just every time I do art now and have the time, it's just like, I love it. And I've found that it's like, I can still call myself an artist, even though I'm not like, that's not my main.
No, just because you're not doing it full time doesn't mean you're not an artist.
Yeah.
And you know what? The great thing about supplementing your creative like your, it still is can be called your career too. You're just doing both. And the great thing about not having that pressure on it is that you get to focus your energy on your work, and that's work. So you can be like, oh, work sometimes, and like, and you can complain about that. And then just like you're saying, the creativity and that time is like more magical and more special because it's time for you. Oh.
And I'll show you, Mom. I'll show you how to build.
Yeah. No. No, I don't want to build a Pikachu right now. You brought me all the pieces. I am not super into building stuff or figuring stuff out, but as a mother, I've become like
so good,
super good at it.
Yeah.
I'm a puzzle master. Here's the erections. Thanks.
Wow.
Your mom build it.
Yeah, with erections. These
Mom,
erections
where's
here,
the
I'll just build. That's what he said. Here's the erections.
Where's the Pikachu?
Never a dull moment.
Where's the ball of the Pikachu?
Okay, cool. Where are you going? Are you gonna help?
Mama.
And it actually does. It ends up, hey, Mom, let's make cookies together. And then it's just me making cookies by myself. I don't know if that's a boy thing or what it is, but, or let's build a puzzle. And then I'm building, or let's build a marble tower. And I was like, what? And like 15 minutes later, I was like, I don't want to build a marble tower. Where are they? And I'm just here building a marble tower by myself.
Get back here.
Yeah.
Mommy, let's get the staples.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I think, there, again, I will say there is nothing wrong with having just work and just creativity, because, get in the studio or you get at your wherever you have your little space. I think it's important to have a space anywhere you are. And that magic almost happens because you weren't experiencing that. And with and I know, like, my videographer friend would say, like, he's really passionate about doing documentaries. But in order to have a successful business, he has to say yes to a whole bunch of shit that he doesn't want to create at all. So then he's creating, and it's sucking all that great creative energy that he has, and then he doesn't have any left. And that was the same thing with the custom. And Emily Jeffords, she's a big career woman. She makes a fuckload of money, I know. And that, hey, you are so loud. Go take those nuts and your Pikachu, and I promise I will build it with you soon. He makes noise. Like, everything he does, it's like a weird, like, if he eats, it's like, no. Okay, you gotta go do some quiet time. You guys haven't had any yet today. Take this. I'll come with the directions in a little bit. I'll meet you there, okay? Okay, see you later. And I felt that with the custom work. I had nothing left. Like, when you're, and so I feel like, separating them isn't so bad after all, and that there shouldn't be any guilt associated with it or regret.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say for like 15 minutes.
Very succinct.
Yeah, Pikachu. So, haven't built a Pikachu yet, so that's a new adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. Like, and for working too, it's like, it's great because, it's time and headspace away from everything, and time to be you for a second and put on real clothes, and like, again, so much easier to go away for work than work from home. Yeah. So coming from me, who's done it both, the working in like a semi-creative way for someone else, and then fully working, I'm not ready. I've tried to find something in between, which I think you have, and I'm hoping next year will give me a little sustainability and like a taste of new things, and like surprise. It's always surprising, but like a taste of working with other people again, and then still. Dad's good at Legos. Cool. Sure. Yes. Take that to your daddy's home. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I want to talk about your beautiful prints you made for our winter collection in our gallery. They're really stunning. Like, I love your work so much, like a lot. When you applied, I was like, yep. I'm so grateful she applied. I probably would have just asked you anyway. So were you inspired first by the call and then created them, or were you working on those for winter anyway?
No, I was definitely inspired by the call. You had your poem that you had written, or just the description of, Starry, Starry Night. And I knew it was a show that would fall over winter, and I was just sort of trying to envision. Well, I think it came from a place where I was not looking forward to winter, and just like, oh, it's gonna snow again and be cold and shit.
It is kind of shit here. It's long, but it makes us appreciate summer all that much more.
Of course. And then I just, was really sketching things out and thinking about like cozy cabins in the winter, and just how quiet everything seems to get when the snow falls and people kind of tend to stay inside, or there's less cars on the road, it seems like. So it's just like it was inspired by the title and the poem that you had written, and then it was just like trying to think about the magical aspects of winter time and nighttime. So yeah, it was just thinking about like, I want to be cozy in a cabin, looking at the
You did
stars.
such a good job. Like, they're beyond. So good. And I would say, since like moving here, your work has taken a narrative shift in you've been really inspired by our landscape and stuff like that.
100%. Yeah. It was such a
Yeah.
um,
You guys you'll have to check it out. Like, oh, it's just, I think too, like, it's so opposite of my work. It's so clean and nice, and I just really appreciate the subtleties. And you're so talented.
Oh, thank you. It has been something I think I've always been drawn to. I love your work, and I love work that's like super dynamic and colorful. And for a long time, I found myself drawn to like the very minimalism, and finding, just the shapes that are the most crucial to visually communicate something. So,
Or a palette. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
very condensed palette and things like that. So I think it is sort of inspired by graphic design, and I love lately Scandinavian folk art and just that Nordic kind of aesthetic. So, and then
sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, here in the prairies, everything is so like the landscape is so unique and flat, and you have these barns against the horizon that are just so, simple. It's like, it's been very cool to drive through this landscape and see.
Yeah, it like there is something really quiet and beautiful about it, and our skies are something that you have to just see to know how amazing they are. And it's like everyone, it's hard because people say bad things, they're like, it's so dirty and whatever, and you're like, no, actually. And I spent some time in the countryside in France. I was like, it's comparable to here, but everyone, because it's France, they're like, we're drinking champagne here and it's all romantic. I was like, well, let's get some here and it's just as romantic. Like there's like fields and beautiful things about where we live. And even if you go around the river valley areas to like the rolling hill stuff, like it's just stunning. And yeah, we're really from you're living in, not from a beautiful place. And of course, so you were born in Calgary?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and there's also the beautiful thing, and I'm sure you love this about here, is that you can get anywhere in 7 to 12 minutes. And there's something great about that.
It is so great. If I have to be at work at 8, I can leave my house at 7:55, and
it's like the best thing ever. I don't think I could ever commute ever, because I just know what it's like to really not. I wouldn't want to give that back for anything. Although commuting, I'm like, you could read or get stuff done, but it's just
It's nice.
Actually, no, if you're driving, you cannot read and get stuff done.
No.
In Calgary, yeah, like I would say it's commuting by car, so
Yeah.
mostly, right? For a long time.
Yeah.
I always forget too. I forget when we travel, and then I'm like, we'll do this and that, and then we get there, and I'm like, we're just driving the whole time. This is the worst.
Why are you stopped?
Yeah. No, it's like a frustrating thing, but yeah. So I'm so happy that, and hopefully we'll get to hang out more soon. This is the first time I talked to you since we connected in the spring, but we will. I know it just the things that have happened, and I'm sure that things will open up and be more. We'll just get back into it again. Hopefully in the spring, or hopefully everyone's like, well, again.
Well, I know everyone's optimism is just very hesitant. Like, well, things should be normal by.
This has gone on a long time.
Yeah, maybe next Christmas.
Yeah, maybe I'll see you in a year. I don't know.
Oh well, no. I definitely hope so. I just admire you as an artist and a person, and I think you've done great for this community and also for female artists. So it's been great chatting with you.
Oh, that's so nice of you. Thank you. I thank you, Google, for letting Megan find me. I think now too, if you just Google Lloydminster, I come up. So that's pretty cool. If you stay in one place long enough, you're Googleable.
Yeah.
Is Googleable? Who knows? So you can find you on Instagram at Meg McKenzie Studio.
That's right.
So do you want to spell it out just so people know? Or no, I'll put it in the notes. Just
okay.
Everyone, Meg McKenzie Studio. Amazing work. I just I'm inspired all the time, and yeah, you got some taste. You got some good things going on, and yeah, we'll chat again. I'm sure we'll chat again, and oh, your website is meganmckenzie.com?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and I'll put all that in the notes, and I'll put Brittany's. I'm sure she has a website. She does crazy stuff too, like crazy stuff that I could never do.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Paint a quilt like that looks like a quilt.
But folded watercolor.
Yeah, folded in watercolor. Like when I'm watercoloring, I'm just like, let's pour it all in.
I know. Incredible.
Yeah. So I love how we met, and just again, like the message of just reach out to your fellow creatives in your community. You'll never know what will happen, and you'll make good new friends, and it'll be fun. And la la la. Okay. Thanks for being here. And we'll chat soon.
Thank you. I hope your week picks up.
Anything. So I spit when I said that. I'm so like, anything will be. You know what? I got to wake up at 6 today instead of 5. Things are looking up for sure.
There you go. Well, thanks.
Welcome to Color Me Happy. My name is Brandy Hofer. Thank you so much for being here today. As always, I appreciate your time. It actually blows me away that people tune in to my conversations with others for an hour and a half. It is the biggest compliment of my life. And I just, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. In song. That's how special it is. And, oh my gosh. Sometimes when I watch New Girl, I'm like, that is me without the glasses. I'm singing. If you haven't seen it, it's good. I love Zoe. Okay. Got way off track there. You're going to really enjoy this episode. It's with my new friend Megan. She is an amazing illustrator and artist and mom, and we actually met in a cool way, and we talk about it in the podcast, this episode right here where you are. And we are having a winter collection on right now in our BHA gallery. that we started the gallery this year, and I just love curating collections and putting the artwork together. And Megan actually made her prints specifically for this show, and they are inspired by our surroundings. And she's new to Lloydminster, and they are stunning. And I'm blown away, and I was honored that she made them specifically for the show. So go check that out at brandyhofer.ca. I love this conversation with Megan because we actually talk about the silver lining that came along with the pandemic. And I do talk about it a little bit, but she talked about her experience, and there were some things that kind of got, I don't know, shaken away, like shaken up in your life. Like everything got stripped away, and it gave you the opportunity to step out of your life for a second and step back in and appreciate what really matters to you. And I think that was the biggest message and silver lining. So I'd love to hear yours. So feel free to message. I always answer, I promise. And if I don't, I just missed it. 100% by accident or forgot, because my life is chaotic. This morning, actually, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know this already, but this morning Teddy dumped a cold glass of water on me to wake me up. It was special. He had me up at 5 and I nursed him, and then I thought he was back asleep. Boy, was I wrong. And then we go downstairs, and like morning life with any small family with little kids is like chaos. Lucky it was a Sunday, so we didn't have to get anyone to school, because that's something in itself really special. And so I had my tea on the counter, and Teddy pulled up a stool and started dumping salt in it. I feel like it's an episode of Pranked. So I had a salty tea. Do you take lemon? Yes, I do. Do you take salt? No, I don't. Thanks, Teddy. So I put his stool back, and I was also making cookies because we're having a play date. So I wanted to make Christmas cookies. And so I had that out, and I also had made breakfast. I made like hash browns and eggs. So I turn around cleaning up the tea thing with the salt and the wiping and the salt, and turn around to find him putting sugar all over my eggs and avocados and hash browns. So thanks, Teddy. It's just like, you turn around to do one thing and then he fucks up another thing, and just like super. The funny thing is, I've become so numb to these experiences that I freaking I'm not even mad anymore. It's just like, you just gotta laugh at yourself because you'll cry your eyes out if you don't. I always use that. That's Indigo Girl said that. I wrote that in my book too. I have another really funny story from this week too. I don't think I've shared it yet. I wrote it in my book last night, but I haven't shared it. It's one for the books. But we had another play date last week, and the dad came over, and I was telling him about it. He's like, "Oh, just a bad day." I was like, "Nope, dead serious. Nope, that's every day for me. This shit happens every day." I don't even care. I just make sure to write it all down because I know that it'll just be so great to tell, I don't know, at a wedding or just like, I like to put it in the little photo albums, etc. Anyways, this is not a solo podcast. So it is not a solo one. I had the lovely Meagan McKenzie on, and she says where you can find her on Instagram and a website, I'm pretty sure. So find her and check her out in our super cool winter. Super cool because it's winter. Wasn't that funny? Okay, bye.